Hello, wonderful witches. I'm Colette, and I'm here today from Witch Ways to talk to you about 5 of my favorite practices for resiliency and calm. And I actually had something else planned for this week, but in the US, which is where I live, the election last week kind of threw me off, and so I'm doing something a little different. And as always, I want to remind people to take physical actions as well as magical actions. I feel that physical actions open the gate to allow the magic into the human realm. I'd also really love to hear what kind of practices you have for staying calm and resilient as we continue to try and create the world that we want to see. I hope you enjoy. And my first practice is just to remind you to remember to ground. I think that's a really good practice to do regularly, and it's a lot easier to ground when you're stressed if you have that as part of a regular practice. I made a video on that a long time ago and I will link it. But in general, the idea is just to sink roots and imagine that you have those roots deep into the earth, pull up some of that vital, calming, strong energy of the earth and let that anchor you and help you be solid in where you are and stand in your own authority. Just let that move freely through your body. It just takes time to learn to develop this practice. Like anything else you want to learn, it doesn't come immediately. And it also helps you to start to learn to alter your consciousness so it's easier to communicate with spirit guides, allies, helpers, and do some divination. And the other thing I want to say is to remember to breathe and release when you're doing this practice. You don't want to just mask feelings of powerlessness, grief, or stress. My second practice is to use herbs for support and clearing, and most people know about burning herbs in a cauldron. Another thing to know about that, though, is if part of what is making you feel stressed or anxious is anger or rage, I think burning herbs and using that element of fire is a really good way to help clear that. Fire is a great transformer. Dried rosemary is really good for that purpose. And if hopelessness is part of the mix, I would add blue vervain. If you want, you can even write things down on a piece of paper and burn it with those herbs. I also really like steams for emotional and psychic clearing, and my favorite steam blend is equal parts pine needles for strength and perseverance, rosemary for clearing and protecting yourself, and lavender flowers for calming stress and anxiety. I'd probably also add a pinch of blue vervain to protect yourself spiritually from anything that wants to attach to you while you're feeling vulnerable or stressed. It's also great for helping with hopelessness and disempowerment. And I just want to quickly add here, if you're experiencing anything that feels beyond your ability to cope, please check in with a healer. I have a very large dedicated pot that I use just for herbal steams because sometimes herbs leave resinous mark around the edge that can be hard to get out. And so the way I do a steam is I fill the pot up with water, put a lid on, turn it on to high, bring it to a boil, and then take the lid off, throw the herbs in, and turn it down so that the mixture is just barely steaming. You don't even really want it to simmer in my tradition. Any amount of herbs will work, but if you want a really nice strong smell to infuse the house, what you're going to want to use is about a cup or more of herbs to about a gallon or a gallon and a half of water. Stay near the pot and check and make sure that the water doesn't evaporate out. It will go much quicker than you think. If you have animals, I would leave the lavender out. I think part of being powerful and resilient and not getting burned out is being connected to a strong community. That can be humans who share your values and can be supportive and helpful to you, or maybe they can brainstorm with you to take physical actions to change whatever is going on in your life or in the world, or it might be a cohort of witches that help you take magical actions. Like many witches, I believe in taking physical actions to change your situation or change the world around you, but I also very strongly believe in getting information from the spirit world to help with right action, right time. I think it's really helpful for things that are long term in your life. And I like to just pull a few cards and ask questions like, what can be done in the moment? What is the overview? Where do you need to steer your magic and actions in the near future, in the distant future? And if you're in a difficult place emotionally, you might want to have someone else read those cards with you or give you feedback on what they see. This one could be a regular practice or just a spell. Find a large old tree that has survived for many years and sit quietly with that tree for a while. When you feel ready, start to breathe deeply and see or imagine or feel your breath moving towards that tree, offering it the carbon dioxide. And when you breathe in, bring that breath of the tree towards you, which is filled with oxygen that the tree provides, and let that move through the body. I usually do that for at least 10 breaths, and you can stop there if you want. But you can also take some twigs and leaves from the tree and take them home with you. Give an offering of water in return and appreciation and say thank you. When you get back home, light a candle and just arrange those twigs and leaves around the candle and reconnect to your memory of being with that tree and start to breathe with it again and do your best to feel or sense that actually happening and invite that tree's energy to move into the space where you are. Try to hold the intention in your body of those leaves and twigs carrying that energy of wisdom and survival that that old tree holds, and you can whisper that intention to them. You can visualize it in your body and run it down your arms, into your hands, into those leaves and twigs, whatever usually works for you. And then let the candle burn all the way out. Then you can wrap the leaves and twigs up in a cloth or place them in a large charm bag and carry them around with you if it's small enough. Or you can place them on the background of your altar to support your magic and underneath it to support you if you choose. Whenever you feel you need some of that support, you can go back to your altar, light a small birthday candle, and as you stand there, just let that energy of wisdom and survival flow back into your body and imagine yourself breathing into the tree. I think it's helpful to return to that tree from time to time just to renew your connection and to give offerings of breath and water. I have a few final thoughts that I want to share. Be sure to reach out to others, offer and receive support. If you have access to nature, take a regular walk in the green world and take that energy in. And it really helps to do that if you walk very slowly and look around you and really notice what's going on and who is there and what the season is doing. Let me know in the comments if you found any of these things helpful. Let me know which ones you already do. And until next time, stay safe and be well.